January 1944. Camp McCoy, Wisconsin. Frost locks the yard into pale concrete, breath cracking as Japanese prisoners stand shoulder to shoulder, coats thin, boots soaked from slush. Private Kenji Sato, 22, keeps his chin down, stomach burning, fever hidden behind discipline. The wash building squats beyond the fence, pipes frozen, doors shut. No water today. The men assume intention. At the gate, Sergeant Thomas Miller, 34, grips his rifle, wool gloves stiff, fingers numb. He smells iron from cold steel and soap from the barracks. A dented metal basin rests near the supply shed, left after kitchen duty, rim bent. It is empty. It means nothing. Orders hold the yard in stillness. No one speaks. Snow squeaks under boots when a man shifts weight. Kenji feels grit on his skin, dirt pressed into seams, shame heavier than hunger. He expects punishment, a command that never comes. Miller scans faces, unreadable, counting heads, measuring distance. He believes distance is discipline. Kindness invites trouble. The basin stays where it is, unnoticed by policy, ignored by habit. Wind rattles wire. The yard holds its breath, waiting for a move that does not arrive. January 1944. Camp McCoy, Wisconsin. Clouds sag low and snow resumes. Soft, relentless, dusting sleeves and caps. Kenji rubs cracked hands together, nails dark, knuckles split. Back in Niigata, his mother taught washing before meals, not for cleanliness alone but respect. Here, days pass without water. He believes the guards want it so. Across the yard, Sergeant Miller hears coughing, thin and wet. He watches sleeves pulled long, eyes averted. He assumes pride, refusal. Latrine waste rides the wind, sour, and irritation tightens his jaw. Orders are orders. No one said to bring water. Later, Private Alan Brooks, 20, mentions the frozen pipes while scraping ice from a step. They haven't washed in days, he says. Casual, unsure. Miller shrugs. Breath fogging. Near the shed, the basin catches Brooks's eye. Galvanized steel, rim bent, still clean. He nudges it with his boot. It rings hollow. The sound travels, heads lift. For a moment, both sides study the same object. Kenji imagines punishment. Miller imagines trouble avoided. Snow keeps falling, filling the space between them with quiet misunderstanding, waiting for someone to decide, to act now. Finally. February 2nd, 1944. Camp McCoy, Wisconsin. Overnight, the temperature collapses. Ice skins canteens. Kenji wakes shivering, uniform stiff with grime, fever buzzing behind his eyes. He expects nothing to change, expects endurance to be the only currency left. Before morning lineup, Sergeant Miller moves without announcement. He meets Private Brooks behind the kitchen, steam fogging the boiler room. They fill the dented basin with warm water, hands burning through gloves, metal biting back. Steam lifts, thin, uncertain, smelling faintly of soap and rust. No speeches, no looks exchanged, just wait. They carry it across the yard, boots crunching snow, arms tightening with each step, prisoners tense, lines stiffening. Kenji's heart hammers. He believes this is a test, that stepping forward will invite punishment, that kindness always hides a hook. The basin is set down between the lines. Water trembles. Miller steps back, jaw set, says nothing. Seconds stretch. Wind hums wide. Then Corporal Hiroshi Tanaka, 41, steps out, bows once, lowers his hands. His breath catches at warmth. Steam curls around his wrists. Shock ripples outward. Confusion follows. The basin is only a basin. But it has crossed a boundary no one named, and the yard will not forget this. February 1944. Camp McCoy, Wisconsin. The basin comes back the next day. Then again. Sometimes two appear. Sometimes three. Guards rotate the carry. Hands reddened. Faces neutral. Boots slipping on packed snow. Prisoners line up without speaking. No one rushes. No one asks. Kenji washes his face for the first time in weeks. The water stings, sharp and clean. He feels human again, briefly, and that briefness matters. The basin becomes a schedule, a signal that the day has edges. Men save soap scraps, press them flat to dry on windowsills. The yard smells different now. Less waste, more metal and steam. Sergeant Miller notices posture shift. Fewer coughs, eyes lift. He tells himself it's practical. Clean men get sick less. Discipline holds easier. But something else settles too. Unnamed. One afternoon, Brooks slips on ice, nearly dropping a basin. Tanaka reaches out, steadying it. Fingers touch, then withdraw. No words, no punishment. But this was not the moment they would remember forever, because the basin begins to mean more than water. And everyone in the yard feels the weight changing, slowly, quietly. March 1944. Camp McCoy, Wisconsin. Snow thins into gray patches and mud replaces ice, sucking at boots. The basin keeps coming. Its rim dents deeper. Scratches bloom from frozen grips and careless knocks. It is no longer clean. It is used, handled, relied upon. Prisoners wipe it after each round, cloth scraps darkening with moisture. Kenji volunteers despite weakness, kneeling to scrub, believing care should be returned if dignity is to stay. He feels steadier afterward. Hands less ashamed. Miller notices and shifts routines, bringing water earlier on colder mornings, later when sun softens the yard. No one acknowledges it. The camp runs smoother. Fewer shouts. Fewer reports. The basin becomes currency, traded silently for calm, for trust neither side names. One morning the water arrives late. Anxiety spreads through the line. Kenji's hands shake. The absence weighs heavier than the cold ever did. When the basin finally appears, steam rising, relief moves like breath passing chest to chest. No friendships form, no rules change. But the misbelief fades. Slowly, that humiliation was the point. The basin does not end captivity. It only makes survival quieter. And that quiet matters. Summer 1968. Niigata, Japan. Rain taps softly against a wooden porch, rhythmic and patient. Kenji Sato, 46, washes his hands over a shallow metal basin before dinner. It is not the same one, but similar, galvanized, cool, familiar. His children watch, unaware. In Wisconsin, Thomas Miller, 58, rinses soil from gardening tools in a shed that smells of oil and earth. A dented basin sits nearby, repurposed, rust blooming at the rim. He pauses, hands submerged, remembering steam lifting in winter air. Neither man speaks often of the camp. When they do, they mention cold, not cruelty. Routine, not anger. Both recall the basin more clearly than faces. The weight of it, the silence around it. Years pass. The object persists, domestic, ordinary. It carries no story alone. Only when held does it feel heavier, layered with time. The fence is long gone. The war archived. But the habit remains. Wash, pause, continue. The basin followed them home, unseen, unchanged in shape, altered entirely in meaning. October 1994. Madison, Wisconsin. A small veterans' hall smells of coffee and old paper. Folding chairs scrape softly as people settle. Kenji, 72, moves carefully with a cane, coat buttoned high. Miller, 84, sits near the back, hands folded, eyes tired. Near the entrance, a display of wartime objects stands beneath fluorescent light. Helmets, letters, medals, and one dented metal basin borrowed from a local museum. Its bent rim is unmistakable. Both men notice it at the same time. They approach slowly, steps measured. Names are exchanged, accents soft. Ages guessed, then corrected. Silence stretches. Comfortable. Weighted. The basin sits between them, Unchanged, metal dull with age. Miller touches the rim with 2 fingers. Cold. Kenji nods once. No apologies surface. No explanations offered. The room hums with conversation. Cups clink. A chair folds shut somewhere. For them, time folds inward. Steam, snow, wire. They stand longer than planned, hands resting on the same object. The basin belongs to neither now. It belongs to the space between them, holding what words never needed to carry. Early 2000s. The basin returns to storage. Shelves close. Lights dim. The men return to ordinary days. They never meet again. Years later, comments collect beneath a documentary clip. Viewers argue over strategy, numbers, blame. Few mention the basin. Fewer ask why it mattered. In the yard, long ago, it held warm water. That was all. But it carried something else quietly. Permission to remain human without asking for it. Kenji dies in 2001. Miller follows in 2003. Their children sought belongings. Basins stack in garages, are donated, discarded. Objects outlast memory, then lose it. Yet meaning lingers, thin as steam in cold air. Decency does not announce itself. It arrives carried by tired hands, set down without instruction. The basin never ended a war. It never changed sides. It only reminded men that dignity can be shared without being taken. Sometimes history turns on weapons or words. Sometimes it turns on whether someone brings water when the pipes freeze. If this story stayed with you, carry it forward. Share it quietly.